What is going on, YouTube people? We are back for another edition of the weekly sports card market update, and this is a special one. We are less than a week away from the 4-year anniversary of me starting posting videos on YouTube. May 18th is the day. This coming Saturday. I'll probably go live for a little. Usually the tradition is a live stream on the channel anniversary. Feel free to go back and watch that first video ever posted. It is still there in all its glory. The stories that I could tell behind that one, I probably mentioned them before on the channel. But anniversary week. So Saturday night, we'll probably go live for a little bit and just kind of chit chat. Not sure what time or anything. I'll try to post that one ahead of time versus the random pop-up lives that we do. Another reminder, as of time of recording, I'm recording this on Saturday evening. The Mavericks have defeated the Thunder. The Cavs and Celtics are about to tip off. I'm trying to get this in before that game starts. 73 days from the National. Coming quick, folks. Coming quick. Spoilers, don't stay at the Best Western in Strongsville. We'll get to that in a second. Before we dive too deep, shout out to channel partner comc.com. They have a large Marvel and non-sport auction event popping up end of the month. I will be getting ready to ship them out some cards, not necessarily for that, but if you watched the live stream yesterday, I ripped a bunch of Bowman and some other nonsense, and I need to sort through that stuff and figure out what I am sending off to old ComC, and we'll be sure to do a video about it once it rolls around. I did just recently pick up a non-sports card on ComC, but I won't spoil that. It's actually the card that I picked up on ComC is a Star Trek auto. Nerd alert, I know. But if you're not using ComC, go check it out. Let's go ahead and dig into some stuff, and we'll go to this one first. $2 million in baseball cards stolen from a hotel in Ohio. There was a very large vintage show in Ohio a couple of weeks ago. I did not go to it. This is a multi-day show. It's about an hour away from me, but it is very, very, very vintage focused. So I did not attend. I think I had something else going on this weekend as well on top of it. But Memory Lane Auction, for some reason, had $2 million worth of sports cards shipped to this Best Western. The show was not actually at this hotel. This hotel is right next to where the show was. In the past, the show was held at this hotel. And actually, one of my local shows is held at this hotel. There is a Cleveland show that runs for about half the year. It bounces between this hotel and one in Independence. So I have been in this building before. Actually stayed at this hotel years ago for a wedding. Like 10, 15 years ago, maybe more. But $2 million worth of cards shipped to the hotel via FedEx. They turned up missing. And we were talking about some super rare vintage stuff. No, I was not involved. You know, the obvious questions here are, why are you shipping $2 million worth of cards FedEx to the Best Western? I feel like there would be a better way to move those cards around. So bad look for Memory Lane. On top of it, they let the auctions run their course before they announced that these things were actually stolen in case they turned up, because these were cards that were on the auction block that they were putting up for like display to market, basically. So I am sure there was a bunch of fun meetings to be had at the Memory Lane offices and also with their insurance company. So fun stuff all around. If you were staying at the Best Western in Strongsville for the National, because this hotel is very convenient for the National. It's about one exit away, very convenient location, lots of restaurants, big shopping mall, all sorts of stuff right around that hotel to do. Not the nicest hotel in the world. Actually, I had some people ask me about this hotel specifically, and I was just basically kind of like, It's your classic 2-star, random hotel off the highway. There's nothing fancy about it. So I wonder if this will impact their bookings for the National, given that $2 million worth of baseball cards went poof. Next up, probably one of the biggest stories of the week that not a ton of people are talking about. I know my pal Dustin did a video about this. I was planning on it, and then other nonsense just kind of got in the way. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And that is one of the advantages of this video. If I miss something in the middle of the week, I can move it here and at least touch on it. So, Premier League, and listen, let me preface this. I don't know anything about soccer. I mean, I know like you kick the ball in the net, but when it comes to soccer cards and stickers, I'm completely out of my depth and my element. But Premier League trading card and sticker deal, and this is in Europe, is moving from Panini to Fanatics in 2025. Now, a lot of you might be like me, go, I don't care about soccer at all, but this is a big deal for Panini. For those that aren't aware, Panini's primary business is not an American trading card company, though they do make a lot of money from that. The heart and soul of their business is European stickers, and they do a lot of business with that. This is a direct shot, a direct punch in the gut to Panini's core businesses overseas. The fallout from this will be interesting. I don't know what the lasting ramifications of this will be, but it is another leg that Panini does not have to stand on, that Fanatics has whacked out from underneath them. So this was probably, I have to imagine, part of their fallback option. Hey, we're going to lose licensing to a lot of the U.S. sports. We still have all this European stuff we could do with soccer and stickers, and they still have a lot of other stuff beyond Premier League. We could do unlicensed stuff over here and whatever they were going to figure out, whatever deals they still had in place. And now this is another blow to the Panini future. I am not smart enough, and I do not know all the inner machinations of everything behind all this. But like I said, it weakens their standing. This hurts them in the long term for sure. I don't know if it makes them more likely to sell or not, or anything crazy like that, or move the brands over to Fanatics once the licenses switch. Like, would they be willing to sell Prism off the property? Guess what? They might be more willing to do it when they don't have anything that they can make anymore. We'll have to see how this all shakes out, but just something interesting to note that probably doesn't apply to a lot of us on our face. A lot of us would look at the story and be like, Premier League, whatever. I don't even know what that is. But the fact that Panini is losing sticker business in Europe is actually a pretty big deal on the back end of the sports card and hobby world. Let's continue with news, but also mix it with charts and graphs. Link to market movers in the description down below if you want a free trial and 25% off for life. First up, some baseball. Before we hop into Bowman, let's talk Paul Skenes. Paulie Skenes got the call up, number 1 prospect, at least pitching prospect, I should say, in Major League Baseball. Has been absolutely dominant in AAA. Gets the call up to start for Pittsburgh today. I did not get a chance to actually watch that start. It started while I was still streaming, and I don't have the MLB package, so I didn't have a good way to view it anyway. But his line looked okay. He gave up some runs, but he struck out a bunch of guys. I think he only pitched 4 innings. But the hype of him all spring and then leading to the call-up has driven his prices up. You can see the dark blue line there is his PSA 10 Bowman draft. That is currently sitting at about $520. You can see this is over the last 180 days. This is going back basically to Christmas. You can see the little bump up here. This was going for around $450 prior to the call up. He got the call up, went up to $575, and actually already started coming back down again to $500. Skenes could be great. Putting money into pitchers is the scariest thing you could probably do in the sports card world. I don't know that there is a less safe position, regardless of sport out there, at least of the major ones, that if you ranked on the risk meter of let me dump a bunch of money into a player in a certain sport at a certain position, it does not get any more risky than pitcher. And it's even more risky than, running back in football. The other line you see on there is this PSA 9 Refractor. That's going for $732, and you can see the massive swing up in price there. Prior to the call out, these don't sell obviously as often. That was going for about $400. A PSA 9 going for about $730 now. Who knows? He could be the next great thing. He could get injured next week. It's a pitcher. Who knows? I would temper expectations for this year. The Pirates are the Pirates, for one thing. They are actually playing pretty well this year for the Pirates. And they are going to put kid gloves on him. They are not going to let him throw a ton of innings. They will baby him. So it's not like he's going to rack up insane numbers, at least this year. He could look very impressive doing it, and that might be enough to carry his prices, but just putting money into pitchers seems absolutely terrifying. I would rather invest in his girlfriend than actual Paul Skenes cards. If you gave me a choice between two different cards, Libby Dune influencer cards probably have a better chance of holding value than Paul Skenes long term. I hope that's not the case, but it's just kind of the way that it works with pitchers. There's just so much that can go wrong. Also in the baseball world, this was Bowman week. I know. I'm sure everyone's sick about hearing about it already. Where do we currently stand? Box prices went on sale or went for sale this week and have already sold out, at least the ones that people want, on Topps' website. Jumbos went up for $520. Secondary market, they've been sitting at about $575-ish most of the week. And even on pre-orders. Topps' original pre-order was for $500. They launched at $520. These were actually on the site at $520 for a couple of days. I think these just sold out Thursday afternoon. Maybe even Friday afternoon. They were up for at least a good day. If you wanted one, you could have got one. This was the most aggressive price around when it comes to jumbos. And jumbos, once again, if you're chasing the autos, which is usually what you're buying Bowman for, that's what you want. Now, say what you will about a $520 box price. I opened two of them. One was very good to me. One was pretty bad to me, which is probably about how it goes. The hobby boxes are still in stock at $270. That feels rough. You're only getting one auto out of that, whereas the jumbo, you're getting three autos. And once again, that's kind of the chase. Blaster boxes are still in stock. Cases of jumbo are still in stock if you're sitting on $4,200 that you want to potentially light on fire. I did open some blasters yesterday. They feel okay. One blaster that I opened was really, really good. I didn't hit an auto, but a bunch of numbered stuff, numbered rookie, did pretty well on that one. The other four that I opened were very meh, which it's retail. That's kind of to be expected a little bit. I personally am probably done opening Bowman. I did my little splurge, got it out of my system. We'll try not to FOMO into any more, and we'll begin saving a little bit of cash on the side for Bowman Sapphire, which will probably be coming very soon. And also, the other thing that I have to budget for is my Cleveland Indians have the first pick in the draft, and they are probably going to take, and I'm blanking on the kid's name, Condon, I think, hoping they take the outfielder from Georgia. He has like 40 home runs already in college in very limited playing time. Guys, looks like an absolute monster. They have the number one pick, so they are probably going to have a prospect to chase in draft, and that is probably going to be a problem for me. So I need to start preparing for that now. Let's take a glance at some single prices. This is base Chrome Prospect autos. Once again, I am not too terribly concerned with the single price because remember, it is release week, so these prices are going to be naturally inflated until inventory kind of flushes itself through the system. Always keep that in mind. I always like this little thought experiment as who is ranking where in regards to the chases. That being said, these are the base autos. This is what you are most likely to pull. Remember, the box price is $279 for a jumbo and basically $600 for a jumbo and about $275, $280 for a hobby. The best player you can hit, best two, are Dylan Cruz and Walker Jenkins in base autos. On a regular hobby box, they cover the price of the box barely. And if you sold it on eBay, you're basically breaking even. On a jumbo box, they cover maybe half of it. So even pulling a base auto of one of these guys is not going to save you. Now, if you send it in at PSA 10s, maybe a little bit of a different story there. But we have Dylan Cruz and Walker Jenkins at the top. Both basically selling for about $330, $340 in the raw format. Those are your top two guys. We see Wyatt Langford and Paul Skenes coming in next. Those aren't actual first Bowmans. Those are just prospect autos. Then we have Adian Miller, Sebastian Walcott, George Lombard, Namala, and Wilkin kind of rounding things out in that just over $100 price range. The only other thing that's not on here that I didn't look at was rookie autos. Let me pull those up real quick just to see, because there are Yamamoto autos in here that are probably doing quite well. Yeah, 785 bucks. Only a couple of those have sold, but that will be a popular one as well, as this is his first autographed card because of just the nature of the releases. He was not in Top Series 1, so the Yamamoto autos are basically his first real rookie auto on card. So this will be a popular chase as well. A nice little bonus that you're just not all completely hunting for the first Bowman. On the refractor side of things, once again, Cruz leads the way, not surprising. A little bit of a bigger gap here between him and Walker Jenkins. Same thing though, 750 for a refractor, Cruz, 650 for a Walker. If you pull a Walker, one of the best cards you can hit out of a box, just barely covers the box price. That's a little scary. Then we have Miller, Baez, Cespedes, Teal, Lombard, and Namala on the rankings there, going on down through about $250-ish to close to about $200 for their base refractor auto. The weird part, Cruz is off to a pretty rough start in the old minor leagues. He is not having a great season to start things off. Otherwise, maybe he would be a little bit more hyped. But that's always dicey. Remember last year, 2023 Bowman, the hyped prospect everyone was chasing was Drew Jones. That has not worked out well so far to this point. Spencer Jones was a big chase out of that product. Junior Caminero, also a big chase out of that product. He's probably your best bet right now at the moment. And he's still not called up yet, but that should be happening at any time. The one thing that is also selling really well, these seem to be very hard to hit just based off the eBay listings up for it already. The Pete Rose Retrofractors. Just a Pete Rose SP Retrofractor card is going for $350. Yikes. That seems expensive. There is a gold out of 50 that went for $700. I have a sneaking suspicion these people wish they would have maybe held a little bit longer. They put it up for $700 to buy it now. Someone snagged it. This one went up for $1,000. It looks like they negotiated a price. But if the base is doing $355 on bids, then I feel like the gold should be going for more. I'm actually surprised this one only listed for $570. That just seems very, very, given, I don't think, to me it seems expensive, but given what the other stuff is selling for, that actually seems pretty reasonable for gold. I don't think an auto has hit the market yet. At least I have not seen one. Those will probably be pretty tough to come by. These retrofractors tend to be pretty rare. The Pete Rose does sign 1 billion autographs a year. That is no surprise. But his autograph being in a pack-pulled licensed card is going to give that card a ton of juice, because we haven't seen that in a very, very, very long time. Next up, let's transition over to basketball a little bit. As I said, I am recording this prior to Celtics Cavs. Anthony Edwards lost the game. Everyone's selling at 30% comps now because he must be washed up and no good. This is over the last 30 days. I just decided to pull some of the main stars of the NBA playoffs so far. I could not fit everyone on one chart, so don't feel bad if I left someone out that is your favorite player. But Anthony Edwards spiked. His silver prism got all the way up. I did that video on Friday. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The price spiked all the way up to $1,800 for his PSA 10. It has already started to come back down again to $1,600. You can see that dark blue line there is Ant-Man, the up, and already starting to come back down. So have we missed the window? Did you miss the peak already? Time will tell, but you definitely want to be selling more than you are buying when it comes to Anthony Edwards. But over the last 30 days, his stuff is up 140%. Jalen Brunson, another big winner, up 80%, playing out of his mind. And boy, oh boy, this Knicks team, fans absolutely adore him, and the Villanova guys. Luka, the once hobby darling, has the luster fallen off? Not quite yet. His prices are up 30%. His silver prism is flirting with 1.5K again. I watched that game today. Man, he is just getting beat up. This playoffs overall, like not even just the Mavericks, overall is just a war of attrition. The Knicks are losing guys left and right. Luka's all banged up. It's an absolute mess. Tatum up slightly, only up about 15%. He has had a very, very quiet playoffs. As a Cavs fan, stay that way. I hope I did not just jinx everything before this game starts. You all know what happened as you're watching this video on Sunday or maybe even Monday. SGA up about 20% as well. Obviously, him and Luka, one of those guys will continue to go up, one will go down. NBA playoffs have been very entertaining. Every series the Knicks has been absolutely great. Timberwolves Nuggets looks absolutely great. And I'm kind of excited to see where things go. It feels like, to me anyway, whoever wins Timberwolves Nuggets is the odds-on favorite for the NBA title. That's just kind of where I sit with it. Thunder, Mavs, looks like they're going to war. I don't know if Luka is going to be able to hold up against either one of those two teams as good as he is. And in the East, the Knicks are running out of bodies. They are just straight out running out of bodies. I would actually be a little concerned that the Pacers might come back on them. I think that's still a bit of a long shot, but they are running out of people to run out there and play basketball. Thibodeau is running those guys into the ground. And then the Celtics, they don't have Porzingis. We don't know when he's coming back. They're kind of just, they went, game 2 against the Cavs, they went into one of their little spells that they seem to go into where they just kind of let teams run wild on them, and the Cavs took advantage of it. Tonight's game that you all know the outcome of will probably be a large factor in how this series goes. If the Cavs come out and look good and can force themselves on them and play like they did in game 2, then maybe they have a chance to make that a little bit of a series, or at least force it longer than probably anyone thought that it would go. But the East feels kind of wide open. Whoever comes out of Celtics Cavs is either going to get a very busted up Knicks team, or I guess you're really not inexperienced anymore if you make the conference finals. I was going to say an inexperienced Pacers team, but if you make it to the conference finals through the Bucks and through the Knicks, then I don't know that I could call you inexperienced anymore. So to me, whoever wins that T-Wolves Nuggets series feels like the team that is going to win it all. So Ant-Man, Joker, we'll see. I was surprised by how lifeless Minnesota looked in game 3. I think they would come out and try to, sweep the leg on them, but Denver's not so fast, my friend. Also in the basketball world, we got to talk about Wemby Kabooms. Holy smokes. 2023 Crown Royale. Kabooms are in it. Victor, this is just a base Kaboom. At bids with 1 day, 1 and 2 hours left. $10,000 and going. Let's see how shady this bid history is. Though there was a buy it now that looks pretty legitimate. At least on face value, that looks pretty good. I think one of these sold best offer buy it now for $24,000. I believe the green 1 of 1 has been pulled. I should mention I forgot to mention this earlier. Bowman, a lot of the big 101 Superfractor autos have already been pulled. The Cruz has been pulled, and the Walker has been pulled, and I think one of the other ones have been pulled. The Cruz was the one that had the 200K bounty on it. I don't know if that got accepted or not. But I'm pretty sure the 1 of 1 green Victor Kaboom has already been pulled as well. But these things, holy smokes. 10K for a Kaboom, huh? That's where we're at now. Yikes. For a badly, I don't want to say badly. I don't know. I've never been big on Kabooms in downtowns. Actually, of all the case hit chases of the big ones, I actually prefer Color Blasts the most. I don't even own any, but if I was going to go after one, it would be a Color Blast. I actually kind of like the way that those look compared to some of this other stuff. Definitely over the Kabooms and definitely over the downtowns. But these are, want to call it the modern era PMG or essential credentials or whatever 90s insert that everyone used to lose their mind over. Kabooms, downtowns, and Color Blasts are our generation of that stuff. Now, will that hold long term? I don't know. But for right now, they are. And boy, oh boy, we'll keep an eye on this one. This is going to sell for a boatload of money. Let's check in on football very quickly. I need to wrap up before this game tips off. Just a blanket check-in. I just picked a couple random of the more popular quarterbacks. just to see what their prices have been doing over the last 90 days. Spoilers, not a ton other than going down a little bit. Herbert, Silver Prism, down 20%. Remember, this is through the NFL draft. Burrow has stayed flat, dead on 2K. Brock Purdy down about 20%, and CJ Stroud also down about 20%. One thing to keep in mind on Stroud, his might be a little artificial because going back 90 days puts you earlier in the inventory run of Prism Silvers, because remember, that product released earlier this year. It was obviously way, way higher, so we're not seeing that initial fall off, but it has still been tailing down. I don't know that it's necessarily found its floor yet. It seems like it's settling in around that $750, $800 mark. It got a little boost up with the Diggs trade and then kind of went right back down again. But other than Burrow, of the top quarterbacks, I think Trevor Lawrence might have been up slightly when I was glancing at it. Kyler Murray was up slightly after drafting Marvin Harrison. But for the most part, we're kind of in football no man's land right now. It's the NBA's time to shine, and a little bit of baseball. And then, once we get through these NBA playoffs, then we will be looking at football dead in the face, the national dead in the face, and that stuff will probably start to gain steam and excitement. That is all I got for you, boys and girls. Not sure what we got coming up for content this week. I have one video in my mind that I need to do. I've laid out some stuff for it. I just need to finish poking around on some things to discuss and maybe a little bit of a follow-up to that. But beyond that, we'll see what pops up. That's all I got. Catch you boys and girls on the next one. Go Cavs. Peace.